The friends, and if you could just run through that, because I think that really, again, that's a very long story, but if you can give it a summary of that.
Well, Sarah came to me when she was, can't remember, late 30s, but she'd been diagnosed since she was in her early 20s with ulcerative colitis, and it was particularly bad because she would have to be hospitalised because she would lose a lot of blood, and they were never really able to bring her into remission, so the drugs were getting heavier and heavier, corticosteroids. Then she was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, because that is what tends to happen. If you don't fix things, particularly with autoimmune, you get another autoimmune and then another one. So very often people come with 3 autoimmune conditions. By that time she was on methotrexate plus all the others. And she came to me and she said, "Do you think you could help me?" She could hardly walk. She had 2 children under the age of 5. She was on medical benefit. She said, "I can't afford to take any supplements, but I might just be able to afford to do the diet." She went on the program. We tried to bring her off the drugs gradually in the first year, but she ended up in hospital twice, so we had to do it really slowly. It took her probably a year, 15 months to get off all the drugs, and in 3 years she was totally healed. However, her bowel, because it had been so inflamed for so long, was actually non-functional. So she developed what was called a megacolon. She couldn't get any specialist to treat her seriously. They didn't want to know. Eventually she found a surgeon in another state who took on her case and said, "We need to remove the bowel because you're going to get sick just because it's not functioning." If you imagine, it had lost all its muscle and its elasticity. He said, "But we're going to have to remove the whole thing." So she would have a bag. She said, "Well, I accept that, but when you go in, if you can save anything, please can you?" So he went in, and she doesn't have to have a bag. He took out the bulk of the bowel, and he sent off the tissue that the biopsy that he'd removed, and you know, there was no sign of disease in the tissue. Absolutely incredible. And she's gone on to get a degree, and fantastic. She sent me a photograph of herself. It was just not the same woman. So it is possible for the body to heal itself, but you have to give it the time and you have to do what's required. And products don't do it.
Right, well, I mentioned the Maple Street Co-op magazine. There's a very short article in there that Kathy's done, but it points to a website, which is an example of where some of the world's going in terms of finding evidence of what works. So basically, we're not waiting for the system. We're collaborating with ourselves. We're posting, we're publishing information of clinical observation experience. You can go to websites now and actually have more access to information doctors have. Because doctors don't, GPs don't collaborate. And I'm not talking about individuals, because remember, these people are stuck in the system. There's some good people in there, but the system is broken. But these websites are now starting the way it goes. So have a look at, if you get hold of that magazine, have a look at that, and that gives you a link to Kathy's website and some of her blogs as well. And for anyone who buys anything on her site, I'll do an advert, even lowest cost is $5. You automatically get access to her community. Now the community is put private because the community didn't want boys in there. They just wanted people who are like-minded and sharing and can help and support each other on their journeys. So it's kind of like a private thing. And the pre-qualification is at least you've started it somewhere. So
at least you've parted with $5.
so have a look at that. But there's loads of free stuff on the main website.